We're recording now. Welcome to that Dank podcast. This is episode 27. By the time you guys see this, it'll be Monday. Thanks for tuning in. We got a special guest, Matt Stevens, in the house. Uncle to Maddie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
brother. Just kidding.
Damn, that'd be quite the age difference. But, thank you all for watching. This is going to be a great informative episode. I've been wanting to do something like this for a while. Someone who's worked in the trades. I thought I was going to get a welder in here first, but we got HVAC, which I feel like is an underappreciated trade in the trade world that people don't really think about. The comfort of your home or businesses relies on people like you. And, Matt, you've worked in the trade for how long?
35 years now. Actually, that's from 89, and before then I worked in summers with my parents.
Wow.
My father, so it's actually upwards of 40 years.
Wow. Okay. So you've been in the field for quite some time.
Oh,
then.
yeah.
Right.
like pretty much all my life.
Yeah.
That's
7/8 of my life, yes.
That's
which is
impressive,
fucking
man.
cool if you ask me.
Well, like that, right? That kind of commitment right there, you're going to get great work out of that. You know your shit, I'm sure. When did it all start for you? Like out of high school? Like when did you like?
Well, so it was basically I was born into it. Like my father opened Stevens Heating in 76. And before that, he worked for Middleton Heating for 15 years. So I was born in 71.
Right.
So my father was always doing, and then I would always wonder, well, where's Dad in the morning in the summer times, So finally it became to the point of, hey, Dad, can I go to work with you? And just hanging out with Dad was like the coolest thing on the earth,
Right.
And then it was, he started sending me out to jobs and decided, I better pay the kid in case he gets hurt so he's covered on my books.
Oh, wow.
Well, that was at $3.35 an hour I started crawling houses.
Really?
I would guess in 84.
And that wasn't like not a low amount of money, but that's medium.
That was for a kid.
Yeah,
that's
right.
not even 17 yet. Yeah, that's killer money.
Right. So, like, you started going with him. Was there any specific types of jobs or anything that caught your interest, like blower motors or heaters? Like, was there something that caught your eye, like that you were just like, this is cool?
Well, no, because really, being I was so young, I was too young to get into the technical side of it as far as service.
You just wanted to be with your dad.
Well, just so I was a grunt, right? Go get this, go get that. But then at the same time, you're learning these parts and pieces and how they go together and how they're used on the job.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's, being a kid, I'm sure that's, I had fun. I grew up on a farm and, helping, whoever was around at the time, just giving tools. I just found all that shit fascinating. Engines. And so.
When you get this thing that wasn't working before up and going and moving and working again. And
right.
That's extremely satisfying.
Right. No, that is really cool. So at what point were you like, how old were you when he's like, all right, you're on the books, like you're an employee now?
I would say at least 14 because I was a freshman in high school then.
Right. So you were working while going to high school.
Oh, yeah. In the summer times, I'd get off for the summer and I'd work I would tell Dad to be like, hey, I need at least 1 week in my summer to be able to enjoy myself or whatever. But yeah, no, I'd work all summer long. At the end of the summer, I'd have this pile of money that I could go spend on whatever I've been wanting all summer long,
Right. That's good hard-earned cash.
Yeah. Well, and it kind of gives you the value of a dollar.
Right. Right.
I worked how many hours for this thing that I wanted so bad. Do I really want it that bad?
Exactly. Yeah.
Especially at $3.35.
Yeah. Shit. Well, cheers, by the way, before we get too far, Thank you for the beer, some Sam Adams finest. I'm sure you guys listening are going to notice my throat's a little jacked up. Sorry
no pun intended.
Yeah, a little jacked up. No, I just got sick, I'm good, so I'll address that again. But, so you started at 14, and it was at what point, like, what was, like, one of your first big jobs where you're kind of given a good deal of responsibility
Well,
for?
so it was at 18, right when I got out of high school, that I started becoming a lead person, a journeyman.
Wow.
Even though I hadn't even went through sheet metal school yet, had that much knowledge going on that my father felt I could handle it. So
Right.
that's basically when I started doing bigger things, and it really didn't. I don't know. It was quite a ways in until he just let me go on some bigger projects.
Okay. Was there at any point where he suggested that maybe you would go through like an official apprenticeship program, or was there even a thing like that back then?
Oh yeah, for sure. Actually, when I first started full time, he said, "Hey, just so you know, there's a lot of other careers out there that you can make a lot more money not working so hard.
Right.
I'm not making you do this. It's an opportunity for you. You don't have to do this."
Right.
Which was nice knowing that,
That is cool that he would tell you
and not
that.
that I felt totally obligated to do that. I actually enjoyed it, so
That's cool.
yeah.
That is cool. I guess I probably should have asked this before we got this far, but what exactly, for people that may not know, what is HVAC and what is the function of HVAC in our society?
So HVAC stands for heating, ventilating, and air conditioning. So when we're talking heating, we could be talking radiant floor in the floor or radiant heaters. We could be talking baseboards. We could be talking gas furnaces, heat pumps, ductless heat pumps, all that good stuff.
Right.
And now ventilating, it could be sawdust removal, chemical hoods like on OSU that have a glass wall in front of them, so all the contaminants are locked inside of the hood. Commercial hoods for restaurants that are 24 feet long. Dryer vents, kitchen hood vents, anything to do with moving air is the ventilation part. And then obviously the air conditioning is refrigeration part of it. Now there is a HVAC-R program which actually gets into freezers, refrigerators. When you talk air conditioning, we're talking to 68 degrees.
Right.
After 68 degrees, it's considered refrigeration. And then after 32, it's considered freezing.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Those are 3 different stages. And so we don't really deal with anything below 68 degrees.
Okay.
It's a whole different
I didn't know they
animal.
defined it. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's-
well, and the only one in Corvallis was A&D Refrigeration, and they recently closed their doors. So anybody wants to start a good low temp company in Corvallis, there's work there.
it's waiting for y'all.
Oh, it is. Yeah, for sure.
So, okay, and like for instance, like any of your competitors dive into that at all, or
No, because it's already, what we do is such a large variety of different work, I guess you'd say,
right?
compared to the other. I mean, every restaurant has a freezer and a refrigerator.
Yeah,
Every single one in Corvallis.
yeah, yeah.
So, you could go from there on that one.
Yeah, wow. So, okay, well, that's a good. I learned a lot just from that. I always thought HVAC like, oh, it's just moving air, cooling it, and all this shit. But yeah, that's
Well, so now really, what program Madison is involved in is called the sheet metal program.
okay.
And so she also learns how to take a flat stock piece of metal and make it into a huge, like, 12 by 20 elbow that's turning 90 degrees or offsetting and changing sizes, all from a flat piece,
Right.
to lay it out, put the seams on it, and have it to come together without wasting a bunch of metal.
Right. Yeah.
Am I good at it though? Not yet.
But you're slow. It's all right.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
Practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
And so then the HVACR is like your service to, schooling type. That's the
Right.
2 different programs they would have.
Well, excuse me. Well, so I guess going off on that, kind of also tying into where you started, the apprenticeship program it's a 4-year program, right?
Yeah, well, yes, it's actually not necessarily 4 years, but it's what they call an 8,000-hour program.
Okay.
And so if you're documenting your on-the-job hours after 4 years, you should have 8,000 hours.
Okay.
Unless you happen to get laid off for 6 months or so, whatever. And that's why I say it's not just 4 years. It could be 4.5, 5 to get that 8,000 hours of on-the-job hours, basically.
Right.
Is what they're wanting.
Okay. 8,000 hours. Yeah. What do they say? Like 10,000 hours considers you a master or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and after 8,000 hours, you should know what you're doing.
Right. Yeah.
Or have been moved down the road to something, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
Or even determine whether you think you're going to like something like that or not.
Right.
To stick with it for 4 years, that's
a
pretty
commitment.
Yeah, that's a commitment.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, and it just shows like you're willing to put in like good work for your company or the jobs that you're doing.
Yeah.
Like if you guys get called on somewhere like Winco or some big ass facility, you want to make sure those people know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So so you said sheet metal. Is there what else like just kind of a broad like
So
welding?
Just even touching the sheet metal, meaning not just duct work. We're talking roof flashings that, like over Market of Choice, they have a big rounded arch that, if you look at it, it's all covered in metal, so that the wood doesn't rot underneath of it.
Right.
And so a lot of metal is done in roof flashings and other boxes other than just duct work.
Okay.
But then the welding is, because sheet metal, we only work to 14 gauge, which is like a little less than 1/8 of an inch.
Right.
So it's not like standard welding in that most things you're welding are going to be on 3/16 steel where you're not going to have to worry about blowing through it. You can turn the heat up and just go for it. Where this is like, you've got to concentrate on little spots at a time so you don't overheat it and warp it.
Warp the shit out, yeah.
But most of our welding, it would be done in like commercial grease ducts.
Okay. Is that like a lot of spot welding you're using?
Well, tack welding to start. Spot welding we use on pretty much every little fitting.
Okay.
But it's not a airtight seam either because it's just lap metal with a spot where for the grease hoods, that's what they want is airtight. So the grease can't leak outside of it and cause a fire.
Right.
And so that's why it's welded, and it doesn't have to look pretty because it's getting wrapped with a fire blanket. So
yeah. Okay. Yeah, excuse me, got a lot of gas. But I went to LBCC for the welding program for 2 years, and I don't work in welding now, but I'm familiar with it. But like you said, it's like when they're teaching us, we're working with heavy gauge, like 1/2-inch plate, 1/4-inch plate, and shit, and you can just go to town. Unless if it's aluminum, then you got to be more careful. But we never actually did we did some 14 gauge shit. But what they were training us for was stuff that was going to be more structural. So I never actually had a lot of hands-on experience with super light-duty sheet metal. Like, I know how to use the press brake and bend it and all that stuff. But I never even used a spot welder. I know of them. I know how they work. I never actually had to use one. Yeah. So it's...
because, like most cars are spot welded.
Spot welded, yeah.
Yeah, on the inside of their door seams and up through, just because it's a good way to hold it if there's an angle there to make it stiff so that weld doesn't have to do that part of it. It's just holding it together, basically.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Yeah. So you're growing up, 18, you finally start getting into the field. You start off still as just like the guy handing the tools to other people or what?
At that point, I was starting to be a lead person, just because there wasn't any other leads available out there really. And so you get thrown into the fire, and luckily I had a father that didn't mind stupid questions.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, no question's a stupid question. The only stupid question is a question not asked.
That's
if you did not ask the question and made a mistake, I'd rather you ask me a dozen times, even though I might sound like I'm getting irritated with you. I would much rather you ask and do it right the first try.
Right. That's cool. That's fair. Yeah, I like that, because, if you had some old timers out there, they might yell at you if you ask too many questions, but...
What the hell? You didn't learn the first time?
Right.
And it's like, no, I didn't. That's why I'm asking you again. And that's where, you got to learn that I'd rather you annoy me than make a mistake.
Right.
There's actually a teacher that Matt had and that I also have had now that says if you don't have time to do it the first time, how are you going
Do
to
it
have
right the first time.
how are you going to have time to do it right the second? So
That's a good point.
that also
yeah.
adds on.
Even if
here.
you're very busy, don't rush it and make a mistake.
Yeah.
Obviously not going to have time to come back and fix it.
Well,
You know,
and
I mean,
also, if it's a multi-million-dollar job,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you can't afford to fuck up
even,
like
even
that.
a $1,000 job for Mrs. Jones, she's got lots of neighbors she's going to talk to.
Right.
So it becomes a multi-million-dollar thing.
Right.
And you know what I mean? At the end of the day, if 10 years down the road she talked to 100 people that spent $1,000 on us, well,
yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, I
Yeah.
mean,
It's kind of like the classic phrase, like measure twice, cut once, kind of. You
Yeah,
know,
oh,
but
yeah.
with questions.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly,
Right.
for sure.
Yeah. So when you're put on as lead, like so Stevens, like, there's a ton of HVAC companies around. Well, a few anyway. You got at the time when you were, 18. Was it mainly residential or was it both commercial and residential?
It was mainly new construction residential because there
Okay.
is what we call retro, which is existing homes,
Right.
and new construction. Then it was mainly new construction residential, a little bit of commercial. We've never done a whole lot of commercial, but I don't know, maybe 6 projects a year or something that.
Big ones?
No, like we are right now.
Oh, okay.
Changing rooftop units for the
Yeah.
or blah, 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 but big ones, no, one maybe every 4 years, right? I don't think you've even been in,
Not a
well,
big
kind of. Well, you weren't involved in the downtown one, so.
Which,
And that wasn't that big of a project for Lee.
just
Was it-
recently?
Yeah, where
Oh,
they
yeah, no.
remodeled that whole.
I missed out on that. Well, it would be really cool to be a part. That's where I sit in this whole thing is, I'm becoming a lead and stuff, so I'm in charge of my own jobs that they think I'm capable of, right? So
Right.
big stuff like that, I don't really get to go tag along on anymore and learn how to structure and do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which, it's like, whatever. I'll
She's
eventually...
too valuable to have out there watching us do this. Then she could be over here making a lot more money for us. That's.
Yeah, so I guess, on that, like, you're almost done with the apprenticeship program. You're like, this is your last year, right?
I'm in the first term of my last year, yeah.
Okay. And then when does that end? Like April or May or some shit? Like
June-ish,
June.
I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And then, yeah, like, you've been doing this for a couple years. And I remember when you first started.
Dude, I didn't know shit.
Yeah, like I remember you would like when you were still living here with us, like all the stuff you'd like. I learned this today. Like you were so excited about it, and so it's
I still am. I
it-
love my job.
It's cool that like you've went that far, and then going back to the apprenticeship program, it's I think like what you're saying earlier is that people need to realize that opportunity is out there for
Yeah.
you.
Oh, yeah.
And like you, forgive me, I'll edit this out, but you worked at McDonald's for a minute, and
You don't have to edit that. It's
but
okay.
like some
is
people
kind
aren't
of
proud about
embarrassing.
McDonald's, but you went from that and now like he said, you're valuable as fuck to these guys, and so it's like
Only because they put in the time to make me,
No, you're
Valuable.
valuable at any other company.
but I wouldn't be as valuable if you guys hadn't have.
True. If we hadn't put in,
they put
correct.
you up, but now you're up.
Yeah,
like,
now it's like I'm gonna leave unless you give me this. No,
like
I know, you
and not
would-
that
I'm
you
just-
would do that, but
I'm
you
just
do.
saying.
There is that like once you become a journeyman, like
you can
that
go
is saying
literally
something.
anywhere in the nation, possibly the world,
Right.
and she's gonna be a valued employee.
Exactly.
Because everybody needs heating. They need sheet metal. They want comfort. Bottom line.
Being
And-
state certified will also help.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, I guess we're kind of jumping all over here, but this is good. Talking about earlier is like everyone's scared of AI. Like AI is going to steal. Well, it's going to like programming, shit like that. It's probably going to be gone in the next few years. Like all those jobs. But what's going to be left is trades.
Your hands-on trades.
Your hands on, like, a robot, like, maybe you can do some welding, but you're not going to have AI putting an HVAC system in.
Yeah, correct.
It's valuable, and you make good money, and you guys are always employed. And it's just like, that I feel like that's a very important thing to talk about. The trades is just, there's shit out there. You just got to learn to deal with getting dirty. you know?
But I think that's kind of the misnomer too, though. That it's like, so you're getting dirty, but it's what, 2 times a week, maybe, that you're getting kind of,
Yeah.
you know, I mean,
Yeah. It's
and
not that
most of
bad.
it you're not under a house or in an attic,
No.
maybe twice a week, 3 times a week for an hour at the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a couple lately where, well, actually only one lately that was a full ducked out where you guys spent all freaking day under the house running plaques.
Yeah, but that went pretty quick too. I was in an
Yeah.
attic with the helpers, and we got that done real fast.
Yeah.
Too, so I mean, it's as much as people like to complain about a crawl, they're really not that freaking bad. The worst part is like,
The occasional rat
well, when
carcass.
it's tight. That's
Or the smell.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
the smell.
When you take the call covering off, obviously it smells like urine and poop, mouse poop, but it is what it is. Put your coveralls on if you want and
Get a mask on,
get
yeah.
done and
Right.
do it.
yep.
Do you guys ever, speaking, like, just a little side question on that, do you ever have to deal with asbestos? Like, if you find asbestos, then you're like, we have to close this off and do this differently. How is that handled?
So, yes, there is asbestos, not as much as there used to be, but a lot of people that have it are aware of it. And so it's, as long as you don't bump it or disturb it, it's fine to
fine.
work around.
Right.
Just, I don't want to try to tear it apart because
Yeah,
now I
get
have
it
a
in the
raw
air.
open seam that gets the dust into the air, and that's
Yeah.
the biggest factor.
Right.
is-
Aren't you certified in cleanup for that?
Well, no, I'm actually lead paint abater.
Oh, okay.
What is
Because-
that?
Well, so any house that was been painted before 1978 in or out has lead paint in the wall.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm going to remove more than 4 square feet of that surface, I need to be educated on how to do that.
Can lead get airborne if you do it
Yes.
improperly? Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's when you're now, it's almost like asbestos.
Right.
Now that I'm disturbing it, that lead gets airborne in the air or possibly falls down into the carpet, into cracks where little kids later on are crawling around, you know, on the
Yes.
floor, touching it, and then hand to mouth. And
Yeah.
next thing you know, you got lead poisoning.
Right.
And so the main thing I learned with that is what they call the white glove test. And after you clean everything up, you're supposed to take a white glove and wipe multiple surfaces, and it should stay white. If it doesn't, you didn't clean good enough.
Really? Damn. Yeah,
And of course, all that material that you remove needs to be cleaned up and dealt with properly, and not just thrown in our local landfill.
right. Yeah, you got to do like a hazardous waste disposal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I guess, so going back to what was one of, like, when you started working as a lead, what was probably one of the biggest jobs you were put on? Like something.
City Hall.
No, I mean, we did that, but I was younger, so I wasn't a lead or anything. I
Oh,
was
okay.
just a grunt on that one. But all of the hoods are big projects.
Oh,
like-
Amatsu, dude.
Yeah, well,
That's
yeah.
huge.
Hoods? What do you mean? Like
Like
fume hoods?
well,
or-
yeah, for like a McDonald's or any restaurant, it's
Right.
like what they call a class 1 hood. So it has to be 14 gauge welded metal all the way to the roof. Well, the one Madison's talking about was 4 stories down in Eugene.
Which one was that again?
Amatsu, the place just downtown.
Well, no,
Oh, no.
it's actually called Azumi.
Oh,
In
yes,
Eugene,
yes.
it's
What,
it's
a sushi?
it's a sister sushi restaurant.
Oh, okay.
Yes. But yeah, it was right down in Coburg, Eugene, and it was actually 30-inch round, 14 gauge, and it was 4-footers
Oh shit!
that I think ended up being 96 feet long just to get.
You
from
could fit
the-
a person in that.
Oh yeah, you could fit multiple people in that. From the basement to the very roof, we had a 175-foot crane out there because it had to lift it and drop it straight down into the building.
Right.
Either that or it was welded piece by piece and so this we were able to do it in the parking lot, and then wrap it with the fire blanket that it requires to go down through all that. But the cool part is I have some pictures of it, is we had painted Go Beavers down the side of this thing, and it was down in Springfield.
That is,
where we were putting
you
this
should
in.
send that to me so I can edit that in here. That'd
I
be
will.
great. That'd
I'll
be
do
great.
that because I just recently found the pictures.
No way, you did finally?
Oh yeah.
That
Oh,
would
man.
be, yeah, send them to her or me and we'll put them in. That'd be awesome.
No, that would be cool because I'm like one of the only people that knows about that.
That's
And-
hilarious.
Just this big
Well,
sign.
the thing was, is it was like by the register guard in Eugene, so I almost wanted to call him and say, "Hey, look to your east. What's happening to your city right now? You're getting stuck by a beaver dagger."
That is
territory,
so
man.
funny, dude. Oh my god. You know, it's funny, like the rival between the Ducks and the Beavers
Oh, yeah.
is so deep. It's hilarious.
It is funny.
That's cool.
awesome.
That is great, man. Yeah, that's how.
But yeah, no, that project took me 6 weeks being there every single day.
Right.
Of just welding, bending, coming back, figuring things out, cutting holes. Like the shaft, every floor was 4 inches of concrete.
Holy shit.
And then above that was wood, and then another 4 inches of concrete. And I had to line that up through 4 floors of 30-inch round pipe to make sure that when the crane dropped it in,
it's straight.
it's straight and it didn't hang up, because you have a crane sitting there at how much? $300 an hour,
Right.
600 probably just to show up.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you don't want to say, "Oh, hold on, we need to chip some concrete out."
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you got to work efficiently, to set you guys apart from the rest, but also just to get the job done. You got to be efficient.
And that's, obviously the cool, fun stuff to do, but it doesn't make money. That's why there's not companies that do exclusively that.
Oh, right.
It just doesn't pan out,
Well, I feel like even if it doesn't pay well doing that, it's just like you get to learn about that
Oh, yeah,
process,
it's a
and that's
nice-
valuable knowledge.
It
is,
is.
and it's like if you are to go elsewhere, you can be like, "Hey, I did this shit."
Well, because once
And-
it's that, now it's metal on the walls, too, so that it's easy to clean. The gas line for all the appliances that are under it.
Yes.
The fire suppression system that's involved in it. So if there's a fire, they can pull a handle,
right?
which will spray stuff up in the duct and on every appliance.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that's an important thing to mention too, is just how much we actually do in the in sheet metal trade, HVAC trade. Is not only are we working with air and water, we're also, well, I guess that kind of ties into what I'm trying to say, is plumbing.
Well, that's
Electrical.
my next question. Yeah.
We're doing a lot more than just one thing.
Yeah, well, electricians don't do sheet metal,
Yep.
nor do they do plumbing. And plumbers don't do sheet metal or electrical.
Yeah.
Unless
But
if you're a
H-
steam fitter. Steam
And a little bit of
fitters do.
roofing.
Steam
Well,
fitters.
I think a steam fitter is actually considered mechanical, which is actually HVAC.
Really?
Yeah, because it's now... Because steam fitting's like threaded most of it,
Yeah, a lot of it is
which
threaded
is almost
or welded.
welded, which is like mechanical. A plumber doesn't weld, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess that's yeah.
So it is plumbing because of the threaded fitting idea of it, but plumbers normally aren't threading anything that's big like
it's not no
like-
PVC pipe.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Back in the day, plumbers did some of it into their cast iron pipe, but now that they came out with PVC,
Right.
no one uses that stuff anymore.
Right.
So,
It's funny when you go in an old building. The job I used to work at here at Corvallis Hydroponics, it's closed now, but they had like their storm drains were the old cast pipe that like were just slid into each other.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, that is old as fuck, dude. But it still worked.
well, so it's actually, but it's slid in, and then there's actually little rounds of lead that they would put in there.
Right, like Babbitt or
Yeah,
something.
and like window glazing almost, and tap it in there,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, what a pain,
Yeah. Under a house doing that shit. No.
What
Well-
did it smell like the other day when you took that loose?
What did it smell? It actually didn't smell.
Well, I know that was your main concern.
Yeah, it was. The
Well, she did. She had to cut right into like their main plumbing line to do a little hookup for
Was it
them.
like a sewage gray water or was it?
No, it was sewage.
Yeah.
Water,
Oh,
literally.
shit.
And we already had a Fernco, which is a rubber fitting to put into cast because cast is so hard to work with. And so she had to take that apart and put a T in there. And that was one of her first questions. She's like, well, how bad is this going to smell?
I can
Yeah, man.
I can imagine.
She's got the gag reflex of no other, you know?
That is so
Dude,
funny.
I see a booger, it's like immediate.
Oh,
like,
dude, I can't handle boogers. Boogers and fingernails fuck me up, dude. I can't do it.
fingernails?
Well,
What
like,
the
if
hell?
someone like chops off a fingernail, throws it at me, I'm probably gonna
okay.
throw up.
Yeah.
Like, you know, shit. Or it's usually little kids, you know, like the toddlers when they're picking their nose, they're eating it. I can't handle it.
Yeah. No,
So-
I did a dryer vent under a house recently, probably like a month ago or so. And as soon as I took the crawl door off, I smelled it. It just straight up sewage. But at the
Oh.
time, I didn't realize that it was sewage smell. I thought maybe it was just like old, musty water. And then I crawled back to where the dryer vent was, and I just smelled so bad. And I'm like, Matt, does like standing water, does that smell like that? And he's like, no, you were crawling through poop. I was like, oh, great, cool, fantastic.
So you guys deal with dryer vents too, even.
Yep.
And so a little quick thing: how often should those get clean? Like, just I know it's a random question, but I feel like it's
That's a good
important
question.
because you know a lot of house fires come from dryer vents. Like, and I feel like if there's anyone who's gonna know, it's probably you guys.
Him.
That are, you know,
And that, I mean, really?
because some of them go all the way. Like my
Yeah,
buddy
exactly.
has one that goes into his wall and it goes up to his roof.
Yeah.
And that's like 20 foot of pipe full of lint.
And you know, so I was going to say there's really not like a certain number. It's just pay attention to how long your clothes are drying. If you, at first, when you moved in or bought the dryer or whatever, it was taking 40 minutes, and now all of a sudden 40 minutes your clothes are wet, I would be doing some research in your dryer
Right.
vent, because that means there's lint stuck in there that's just absorbing moisture. And as soon as it does that, it progressively gets worse.
Right.
Faster worse, because the worse it gets, the more it's plugged up, the faster, you know what I mean? So it
Right.
just gets to be this bad mess. And yeah, uphill dryer vents, really not a very good idea, but it is what it is.
I know some
sometimes.
houses that have it, and I'm like, that
Oh, yeah,
seems so unsafe.
Because they had
that
like
is-
a concrete floor probably, and it's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
nobody thought about it. Oh, we need a dryer vent when they poured it,
yeah.
and then went, oh shit, later, you know.
Yeah.
So
my buddy, you know, Taylor's house, he figured this out because he's like, man, my dryer, my element's working. It's putting out heat, but it ain't fucking drying worth a damn. And so he ended up having to run, you know, he had to get people out there that ran like this auger bit down into the vent and pulled just pounds of lint out of there. And I'm like, that is a poor design, I feel like.
well, especially if it's like above sheetrock where you can't get to it without causing a lot of damage.
Yeah.
That's really the only way to get it out is use a fish tape or a plumbing snake.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
little wire thing on the end, put a sharp end on it and let it catch onto the lint and like,
Yeah.
just keep pulling it
Pull
out.
it out.
It's all you can, you know. But the worst part is dryer vents are only duct tape. You can't drill them. Put drill screws in them because the drill screw, the lint will hang up on it.
Oh, yeah.
So now you're required these seams that have been hot and wet and only have duct tape on them to hold together.
Right.
So you don't want to just throttle it because you might push the thing apart
Right.
up in your joy space, you know. So
Yeah.
No shit. Well, little fun fact for you guys: clean those dryer vents.
Well, another
Yeah.
thing that we always recommend when we do install dryer vents is a lot of the time they'll come with a screen on them. Rip that out. Because as soon as that plugs up, you're done.
like a screen, like right behind the dryer itself, or just in the line somewhere.
on the outside where the
Oh,
flapper is.
yeah.
And sometimes it's even just a plastic grate. And what it's designed for is keep a bird from nesting in there. Mm-hmm. But with clothes, you're drying every week at least, probably, which that'll keep Mr. Bird out of there.
Yeah.
But the thing is just 1/4-inch holes. So that your lint catches in here at the dryer. You're not thinking, oh, the outside might be getting plugged up. Mm-hmm. And that's what
Yeah.
happens is the outside gets plugged up, and then it just progressively gets worse from there.
That's a good call, and because like my dryer vent, like, you know, it's just right in the garage. It's only like 2 feet throughout the way. It's nothing, but it has like the 3 little louvers that they'll get caked up sometimes,
Yes.
and I'll have to physically clean them and
So
blow
think
them
of
out.
1/4-inch screen. You know what I mean?
Right,
It plugs up
even if you clean
immediately.
even if you clean the lint trap, it's
Yeah.
still getting
It
through.
still
you
gets
know?
exactly.
Yeah. So we were talking about dryer fans. Okay. So yeah, there hasn't, like, you guys haven't worked on something, say, like, or have you, like, say, like, a big warehouse, like Winco or some shit, where there's just, you know, you look up in the ceiling, you see all this pipe and all this shit, like, just giant exchangers.
So that pipe is called spiral.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, we haven't done that amount in one place, but it seems to me anymore, every little restaurant that's opening, commercial place, has at least one run of it, just because it looks good and clean, and it could be done without trying to finish the ceiling, so it saves the builder money.
That's why, like, you go to, like, these hipster kind of burger bars and you see that they have that shit running up, and
Yeah.
it doesn't look like, it's not an eyesore. You're like, oh, that, like, kind of adds to the aesthetic a little bit.
Especially if you like that industrial look, which I simply love.
I love it too.
You know, some people, oh, that just looks unfinished, and I'm like, no, that looks awesome.
Right, yeah. Like, I mean, shit, I go to Beer 30 here down the road, and they have two systems that come out, and it's the same kind of design.
Yeah,
the same shit.
Just smaller. It's definitely, we do quite a bit, like at that Izumi in Eugene where I did the hood. There was also quite a bit of that in there that we did for their HVAC system.
Well, that's
Right.
kind of a fun fact too. Is round duct has less friction loss in it, it has less friction loss in it than like a square duct or a rectangular duct. So that's why you see that used in a lot of commercial applications, because you can get longer runs out of it.
More air with smaller area.
Yes,
So, just explain friction loss. Just explain that really
Matt.
quick.
So in a round on a supply, the air is actually pushing on the outside. So if it's pushing onto the outside of a rectangle, to get into those corners doesn't happen. So you need more surface area on either your length or your width, which makes your friction loss less. So, or actually greater. So you would have to have bigger. So like, let's say we had a square duct is really close to a round. But
Just
now,
the way the air moves through
yeah,
it.
just the way the air moves. But now if we go an 8x24, like in somebody's basement, that air is going to be really restricted because it's collapsed this way.
Right.
So it's going to have to really push to get it to move down that. Where rounds are always a nice round, it's pushing evenly around the whole outside of the pipe.
Yeah, so I grew pot for a long time indoor, and the little HVAC knowledge I have, there actually is quite a bit that goes into doing an indoor type of grow. You need air to go in and out efficiently. I had air-cooled lights, and one of the things when I was reading this hydroponic basics book, it was talking about the importance of, because we're just using the collapsible round, like 6-inch, like slinky shit. And it would mention about, like, if you cut it or do a 90-degree turn, you're going to lose this percentage of air loss.
Yeah.
If you do a 45, you're going to lose this percentage, and so on and so forth.
Even with using the slinky type straight duct,
it's causing air loss.
It's causing friction loss.
Or, yeah, friction loss,
Or
yeah.
friction gain, actually.
Oh,
Friction loss would mean less friction, right?
right.
So that would be friction gain because it's corrugated and
It's not even.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
pretty rough
So
shit.
we're actually gaining friction.
So that same principle applies in commercial applications.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I always wondered that, like, when I was, talking to her, I'm like, man, I wonder, like, how much of this HVAC weed knowledge transfers into the commercial application. But I'm sure, obviously, they gotta have relations to each other.
Well, and on that, the spiral pipe, a lot of that work can be done on the ground. The little takeoffs cut in on the side with the register put in it and all that. So now all you got to do is lift it up there and hang it in place and you're done.
You're done, yeah.
Where something else you're going to have to run the duct, run some round off the top of it over to another boot. You got the register, just on and on and on for just one supply register basically.
Right.
So it does save quite a bit of time.
Do you guys ever deal with... So I grew up in upstate New York, and, a lot of those houses there are really old. And this house I grew up in, we had an outdoor wood boiler. And then inside, it used circulation pumps where we had the old cast iron heat registers, old as shit. But they weren't steam. They just had water running through them. Do you guys deal with any of that out here at all?
We do.
You do.
We actually specialize in that.
It's just radiant floor, isn't it?
Well, it's radiant floor, but what Jack's talking about, the heat source, is kind of like the Haglunds have in their off-the-grid house.
Yeah, okay.
Because so what we would do, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
No, it's all
you,
good.
but like what we would do, like growing up there, was like all summer we were cutting wood to season it for the winter.
So you could
and
just
in the
keep
winter,
loading that thing up all the time.
but you could hold. It was like a 500-gallon unit,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
you would put, not even joking,
You could put like
quarter,
a pallet-sized piece
of
of
wood in
yeah.
there, dude, and it would burn for days.
It's
you know,
actually, yeah, they're actually, what we call them is pellet burners.
Okay, yeah.
Because it is literally the door is so big you can put
pallet
pallet-sized
in there.
pizzas in there.
Yeah.
And then they have 500-600 gallon storage tanks.
Yeah.
And then as your thermostat calls, it'll turn on a pump to circulate that water
Yep.
through the whatever zone is calling, and bam, there you go.
I loved that. Like, that was like the most I really learned, because like, you know, when it was minus 40 out, you need that shit to work. You know, when I was a kid growing up running that, like, I still have dreams about it today, filling that thing, getting up in the morning where it would be out, and I'm like, God damn, you gotta get the fire going. It's stone cold.
Oh yeah, and then it takes a while even.
And
to
it
heat
takes
that.
a while, and because you know, we had a electric hot water heater backup, but we disabled it and replaced it with what was called a boiler mate. Really, all it was a storage tank for hot water. And so that would, you know, as long as you have a fire going in the boiler, you'll have hot air, hot water, like anything that has to do with hot in your house is from that boiler. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I was just, because when I moved out here, I really didn't, a lot of houses over there had that set up. I just didn't see it a lot over here.
And so now, you know, it's strange that they call those a boiler, because they're called a central boiler, because really they're not a boiler. What a boiler is today is a pressurized system.
Right.
Where these really aren't pressurized.
No.
The top of the tank outside is open to the atmosphere,
and
it just circulates out of it still. So it's not considered a
I
pressure vessel, you know?
Yeah, I think we just called it that because we're like, oh, boiler.
Well,
like,
they still call it central boiler as far as the heater itself, but
Yeah.
it really isn't, just so people
Yeah.
realize a boiler, we don't have a boiler's license. That's a
different game.
A whole different game in its own, too.
Right. It's funny because the brand of our boiler was called a Central Boiler Classic.
That's
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
And it's,
Yeah, but there were systems there where those heat registers, you know, you could run steam through them or water, and you know, but
So the steam is probably an actual boiler.
That's probably
That's probably
what you're talking
or
about.
that's differentiated, yeah.
Yeah, versus ours. Like I remember, like we would have an issue. You would have to top off the unit every once in a
With
while
water?
because if you would have let it evaporate, your system would go dry, and then you're not getting any heat, and also you're fucking up the tank, your boiler or whatever.
Yeah, running it dry.
Yeah, it was like whenever we'd fill it, you know, you'd have to open the bleeders and all the radiators to let them fill with water and shit, and yeah, just a totally wild thing to think about that I had to learn when I was 10, 11, you know?
Well, I mean, and, you know, there's still systems like that today up in OSU because trying to retrofit something like that is next to impossible.
That's complicated shit.
Without destroying the historical value of these buildings by
Right.
trying to put ductwork in it that, you still see those old radiators that are still running hot water through them, and now they use actual boilers or even chillers to chill it also.
Right,
you know?
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I was always curious about that. So when you're going, so aside from the big jobs, you know, you get into the trade for a while. What is different now compared to when you started? Like technology wise, like what is something you've noticed? Like obviously efficiency has gotten better.
The one leading product, and it's been within the last 10 years, are the ductless heat pumps.
Right, like this unit in my living room, right? That
the
mini
thing on the
split
wall,
thing,
mini splits.
Yeah.
They are a game changer for the industry.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as something you can put in that bonus room that has never been warm enough.
That's what I need in here for
never
AC.
cool enough in the summer.
Right.
And you want it to have its own little individual temperature control. that's where ductless comes into play, and they're the most efficient thing on the market right now.
Right.
They're inverter technology, which we might go into another time because it's pretty deep too.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, yeah, they are very and they're quiet too. Which
And
is
ultra,
nice.
yes.
Super quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you gonna say something?
I was just gonna say inverters are incredibly efficient, and they are the best thing to happen.
Yeah. Oh.
Ever.
Well,
I mean, worldwide.
Yeah.
Well, you want to know something funny? In the cannabis industry, they're like a grower's best friend because you might have a grow room that's 110 fucking degrees from all the lights. You just slap one of those in there, which takes not, obviously you have some people like yourselves go out and install it, but then you're able to get absolute control of like a veg or a flower room because your temperatures matter when you're growing. And so I noticed that they have taken a lot of control in the grow market just in that way because they're that good.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like I've used like dual hose, like portable ACs, but instead of like, 'cause most portable ACs, the single hose where they just intake from the room and exhaust out, versus these ones are intaking from the outside and exhausting, so it's isolating the room. Those are expensive and not that efficient versus like these mini splits. Yeah. So it's like, so is there anything else that you've noticed that's different anymore, or is it that's kind of seems like the big one?
Well,
right?
and this kind of goes along with the mini split thing. Is in the last since we did Size House, so probably 6 years since you started Madison, they have made, and I don't know if this is, I know it's statewide, I don't know if it's nationwide, but they have passed a code where you cannot have ductwork in a crawl space anymore.
Oh, really?
So if you do, it has to be like a soffit put around it with the same R value as the crawl space. But so if your duct is 12 inches deep and you need 9 inches of insulation on it, you ain't ever getting around or underneath that damn thing, you know? So it's like they're almost pushing to either, actually in the house that we're doing for Middleton, if you notice, all that ductwork's in the house.
Yes.
It's all soffited in.
They're kind of forcing you guys.
It's either that or doing ductless in every room.
Right.
Which,
okay.
The ductless is nice also because now it gives you individual room zoning.
Right.
But on the other hand, very expensive. Once you get above like 4 or 5 heads, you're talking 25, 30 grand range.
Right. And then your electric bill is also going to feel
No. Your electric bill is going to be really nice because it's an inverter.
Okay.
It's your super high efficiency technology. It's just all the amount of line sets going around there. You're going to have a little thing hanging on your wall in the brand new house that looks like it was retrofitted.
Right, yeah.
But, it is what it is.
Okay.
So,
yeah, well, with that, how do you feel like this is probably they're passing these things where they're not allowing people to have gas burning stoves in their houses because they're worried about
That's a thing that's passing?
Well, some places are saying like
Eugene tried to restrict all natural gas whatsoever.
They're saying that the
you
gas
saying that.
causes, there is like I don't know, I'm just saying this is just what I've read. That they're like it does release if you don't have a proper exhaust. Like think about our fume hood. It's not really a fume hood. It's just a recirculator. It just gets the smoke out of your face. So if you don't,
yours isn't even vented.
no, it
That's
literally
what he said. It's just
it just blows the smoke away from you. Is all it does. But like so they're saying if you don't have that, if you're using a natural gas propane stove, that the off gases, if you don't ventilate your house, can be toxic. Which carbon monoxide, that's possible. But what they're doing with it is they're trying to pass all these initiatives to really kind of squeeze that out of people. Like, do you have any thoughts on that? Like,
ridiculous.
it's yeah.
But well, I mean, so Madison and I were just talking about this the other day where there was actually an area over in Corvallis by Timber Hill that has these fireplaces in them that are natural gas, but they're ventless.
Yeah.
So it's like all of us know that any natural gas burnt has some kind of fume left over with it.
It's not perfectly clean.
Yeah, so if this thing is ventless, how the hell does that work?
Right. Yeah.
So I said what I would do is just put a CO detector really close to it to make sure that it is not getting CO into the room itself. You know, because a lot of people, they just want to tear it out as soon as they learn there's no vent in it, which I don't blame them.
Right.
It's a no-brainer, you know. But things like water heating, really? We were going to try and do that all on electric?
Right.
That don't make no sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, some of your higher efficiency heat pumps today are, when it comes down to price of therm, which is the way we measure natural gas, compared to a BTU of electricity, some of the heat pumps are more efficient than even our highest efficiency gas furnaces.
Really?
But the thing being is they only work down to 20 degrees. Then after that, their efficiency is going downhill. So, and in Corvallis, Oregon, we don't have many days that are that cold.
Right.
So it makes sense to probably go with a heat pump.
Okay.
But if you're, you know, Washington, Montana, anywhere in Canada, no, you should just stick with the gas furnace.
Stick with the gas.
You know, because for one, it's such a warmer heat than a heat pump.
Right.
If you're used to that nice, oh yeah, that's warm blowing out of the vent, you're not going to like a heat pump.
Right.
Heat pumps like 130, 140 degrees. Well, our bodies are 100.
So you're not going to feel it all that much.
And now this air is moving. So it actually feels good. It's like, yeah, that's warm. You know, where a gas furnace is like, oh, yeah, that's warm.
That's toasty. Yeah.
Yeah, so my mom's always been quoted as, like, she's sitting where Madison is, or probably if this, I don't know if you have forced air or not, but there'd be a vent right there in front of the window blowing on her. So when it turned on, she'd be like, yeah, that's blowing cold air.
Yeah.
Well, really, it's not, because if the air is 70 in here, a 20-degree temperature rise is a good thing, and that's only 90.
Right.
Which would really feel cold blowing out.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I never would have thought of it
That's
that
actually
way.
the parameter. What he's talking about, the difference is between your return and then when it goes through your equipment is 20 degrees difference into the supply is called a temperature delta, which a 20-degree one is where your system should be operating at. Really, around
whether it be a rise or a fall.
Yeah.
AC, if it's coming in at 70, you want it going out at least 50.
Yeah.
Right. Bless you.
Heating, if it's coming in at 70, you want it going out at least 90, 100.
Yep.
Or else you're never going to change the air temperature in the house.
Yep.
What's weird about, because you talk about this house, we have, we had the mini split, but before, obviously, they put that in, we have these, where it's ceiling heaters. They have coils running in the fucking roof of this place. And a lot of places I've moved around Corrales quite a bit, and it's either the cadet heaters built into the wall, or it's these things. Like, what are your thoughts? These sketch me out. They kind of freak me out, man. I never use them because the mini split works fine.
I mean, because heat rises is not very good.
It doesn't make sense.
It's not very efficient.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know how.
I've never seen one catch on fire, if that's what you're talking about.
That's what I was
As far as safety, no, I think they're 100. I mean, because I've even cut holes in the roof through them. It's actually sandwiched between two little pieces of sheetrock.
Oh, really?
They'll sheetrock the first layer because it wants to insulate it from going into the attic. So it's a thicker piece, and then they'll like staple all the wire on there, and then put a layer of mud, and then do just a little layer of 1/4-inch sheetrock.
Right.
And so once I cut through it and I see it separated, there's never any brown marks like it got overheated.
Right.
Or anything like that. So
well, that's comforting. I mean, like I said, we don't really use ours.
Cadets, I would be more scared of than
cadets freak me out.
But you can actually take the cover off a Cadet 2 to get in and look at the element just to make sure there's no
arc points
or lints, lint on it or dust on it, excessive dust or anything like that.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Once it's in that its own enclosed space, it's nothing should.
Well, but sheetrock does have paper on it, right?
Yeah.
A layer, and so if anything got warm in there, you would at least see it maybe browning. Maybe not burnt, but not white anymore.
Yeah. Discolored of some kind.
Discolored of some, especially white. right on the wire, I'd be like, wow, look at that.
That fucker's getting warm.
Yeah, that thing got warm but
Yeah.
one time. Whether the thermostat stuck or whatever, it got warm at one
Right.
time, you know?
No, yeah, it just never made sense to me when I moved in here. It was like, because if you do turn them on, it's like your head is hot, but then your feet are cold, and it just doesn't make any sense.
No, none whatsoever.
Like, the most I thought was, like, there's one in the bathroom, and I was like, you could argue, like, if you want to make sure, because there's no window in the bathroom, we have a vent. It's not a great vent, but I'm like, if you're worried about moisture sticking to your walls, you could turn that on. It'll help evaporate the moisture off. Like, that's the most I can see it being effective for.
Yeah.
You know, is something like that.
Do you have a thermostat in that bathroom?
Yeah, there's one in the bathroom.
Okay.
You turn it on, it'll get hot real fast in there.
You know, that's kind of the thing with the electricals. They're like, well, you can have it zoned. You could have individual rooms, like you wouldn't have to have this on. You could just turn it on where you're only at.
Right.
So really, you're only having to pay for that area.
Yeah.
Where a heat pump or any forced air unit, you're doing the whole house no matter what, all the time.
You can still zone those.
Very expensively.
Yeah.
I want to get one. I need to
you
get
can
one in
still do
here,
it.
man. Like, at this room,
He
because
keeps asking me. So
well,
maybe-
it's because running all this equipment, like, I'm sure you've noticed, like, just sitting in here for an hour, it gets hot. Like, it's mostly because these monitors are super inefficient. They're just heat pump, or they're heat, whatever.
You realize that, remember?
What?
From Triple E downtown?
Yes. All the computer.
Some of his
the TV
monitors
screens
were running at
110.
120,
Yeah.
130 degrees just with a little infrared thing.
And he had
Yeah.
like 10 TVs in there.
That's
and,
like this
that are
one.
twice the size of that. I mean,
That
And
Vizio.
he had about 20 of those. 20 like actual towers
Oh,
in a
yeah.
whole separate room, and it's like, dude, you're generating so much heat. This unit is
Can't
sized
even
for the
keep
building, not
yeah, it
the
wasn't
load.
designed to do that.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. What was that thing you were saying that, like, just a little fun fact, but you were talking about, like, the human body gives off an X amount of BTUs just existing.
It's 60?
Some shit like
I
that.
think it's 65 BTUs just resting, just sitting here, not doing a thing. We give out 65 BTUs.
Right, and that translates to, like, a couple degrees.
1 BTU is 1 struck match.
Oh.
So that's like 60 struck matches
At once.
Yeah, at once.
No shit. Yeah, she told me that when, I just thought it was fascinating. I thought it was pretty cool.
I think that is a cool fact.
Yeah, it's just understanding, like, I don't know much about, I know that, like, when I was shopping for ACs for my grow rooms, it's like you want higher BTU so you can achieve cooler temperatures. I knew that much, but I didn't really understand, like, the science behind it.
But
No, you
Yeah.
don't want higher BTUs.
Yes, no.
You want more tonnage, right? Your tonnage is
well, BTUs is tonnage. But so if you're using it for actually air conditioning in your house, the problem with oversizing is you're not removing the moisture now. Because it's only going to run so long and then shut off.
Well, that's like when I had my grow rooms, I would have the AC and a dehumidifier unit.
Yeah,
so I would
yeah.
have them working together, kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
To achieve that.
Yeah.
smart man.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just when you're building grow rooms, you always have to have a dehumidifier because once the plants get big enough, they're transpiring a lot of water, especially like when I was doing hydroponics. It's just a pool, essentially, that you're fighting against.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you have to have one. But, that's what the thing is. You want your plants to be cool enough, but you also don't want the humidity to be like the fucking Amazon jungle.
Yeah.
You want to maintain like 70, 50 about there.
Yeah, you don't want your plants to mold, right?
Yeah. Well, especially when you're budding, you want it to get colder when their plants are budding, because then they'll know, like, you got to think
They'll
about.
think it's time to bloom.
They'll think it's time to bloom, but also if you can get them cold and you can control that, you can get really cool colors and good resin production. Like, you can really manipulate the way the plant reacts to its environment by cooling it or, doing whatever to the plant.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, it's like,
Yeah, it'll turn them the purpley colors.
yeah, if you want to get that purple sugary look, you get it cold. Get it as cold as you can, right around before, like a couple weeks before you harvest.
I thought that was all just like a genetics thing.
Well, genetics does help, but you can turn mostly any strain in. Like, that's why I liked about hydroponics, because they're in water, and so I would have water chillers where I would take the water the roots are suspended in, and you can actually lower the temperature of the water too. So you're just making them cold carefully, and then you're shocking them to do that. You know, so it's very, you know, between the water and the air is gonna, you know, dictate how the plant comes out.
Huh.
Pretty much.
Never heard
That's
that.
why I always did hydro, because with soil, you kind of have that control with the air, but with hydro, you can, you know, the water, you can fine tune the exact parameters of what that plant is doing.
Yeah.
You know, that's just off of books I read. I didn't, you know, I don't know the science behind it. I just know it works.
Yeah.
You know,
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
No, so I mean, if somebody were to call us on a 100-degree day and say my air conditioner running all the time, it won't shut off, I'm going to tell them perfect. Leave it alone.
Right.
It's just fine.
Right.
That's what it's designed to do.
It's trying to do
20-degree
yeah.
temperature day. If it's 80 outside or 100 outside and 80 in your house, it's doing its job.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's why it's running all the time,
It's
because you have the
trying.
thermostat set at 74 and it can't reach it
They can't get there.
because
yeah.
it's doing it 20 degrees already. But that's perfect. I mean,
That's where insulation value
and that's also where you're actually dehumidifying with your air conditioner like it needs to be at that point.
Right.
It's sized properly. Don't worry about it. You
Yep.
know.
So if you could give advice to somebody who might not know what they want to do, or someone who might be curious about the trades, what is something like, what kind of advice could you give to someone to be like, you know, to get into this? Whether it's HVAC or, you know, because I feel like all the trades kind of, you know, you go to the apprenticeship, they all kind of apply the same. You're just doing different shit, you know.
Well, so that's the one thing. If you obviously are thinking about, hey, maybe I do want to do HVAC. I do want to get into the apprenticeship. Now, there's an apprenticeship program at LBCC, but it's not the state-sponsored one.
Chemeketa, right? is the good-
Chemeketa.
yeah.
Well, Chemeketa and then Lane County Community, I would recommend the Chemeketa one. But the thing you want to do is just ask the employer, are you a training agent?
Okay.
Which means they are involved with that program. If they're not involved with that program, you can't go to the school just because you have that job.
Right.
I mean, you could, but you wouldn't end up getting the raises like Madison does every 6 months
Right.
through that program. And that's kind of the whole idea, right, is to make your employer give you these raises that he wouldn't have to. And at the end of the day, you're going to be here at the average journeyman's wage in 4 years, no matter what.
Right.
And I don't know any other job that can promise that.
And I would like to add, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when you're doing the apprenticeship, it's paid. Like, you're not doing it just on your own dime, right?
Well,
it depends.
You're paying tuition.
Okay. Well, because I know some I know like some welding outfits anyway. Like, they'll offer paid apprenticeship shit.
A lot of times I think what it is, they'll pay it and then you can pay it back to them.
Oh, okay. I've never done it, so but
there are other companies in my class right now. I don't want to say like names or whatever because I don't want to be whatever.
That's fine.
But they do that where they'll pay for it, but you have to have a certain grade, and I think they will continue to pay for it. But if you drop below that certain grade, you'll have to start paying them.
Well, or maybe even a contract that says after 4 years you're not going to leave.
Yeah.
Because that's what
has
happened to us. One was my cousin, one was my brother-in-law. That after 5, well, the brother-in-law I couldn't blame because they got divorced, and
My dad.
who would want to continue to work for your ex-wife's company?
Yeah.
So you really couldn't blame Brandon. But my cousin Diego, after 5 years, he had graduated, and then a year after that, some other company came and offered him this money. And he never came to us to counteroffer it and just said, here's my 2-week notice.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And we had paid for his schooling.
Damn.
Which was dirty.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
So I would almost think that if they are paying, or they would be wise to have like a prenup signed.
Yeah.
I would
for
imagine.
work, I mean, it sounds funny, but
At the end of the day, it's all business.
yeah,
You can't
if I'm going to pay for you to start making this much money, you're going to have to at least work, not forever, but at
contract,
least the part that I could make my money back on profit through you.
Yes.
Right. Yeah,
Yes.
which I feel like is fair.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I pay. The first year I started the program, each term was like $700, and as I've gone deeper into the program, I'm paying like almost $1,000 a term. which is, I'm not complaining. I mean, if I'm in university, I'm sure I'm paying at least quadruple that.
Way more. Oh
Yeah,
No,
it's a lot to have like all up front, you know, a grand.
But also, with that in mind, your terms aren't quite 6 months, right?
They're 11 weeks.
So they're 3,
Yeah.
approximately. You're getting a raise of 10%, which is almost $2 an hour raise, right?
No, I get like $1. It depends on the level.
But every 6 months. So
It's like $1.50.
So is that covering the tuition? You know what I'm saying?
Kinda, yeah. I have moved up in life for sure.
Just,
Well, I also
and
feel-
I agree. You know, not that we're trying to belittle the program or
No,
anything
no.
like that, because it's a beautiful thing. It's
Fuck
just,
yeah, it is.
It's great. No, that's
you know,
cool.
so that you keep in your mind, you really, even if you are paying for it, you're still coming out ahead at the end of the day.
What I think is cool about the program that I'm in, well, what makes me glad that I'm not in the one in Lane County, is how dedicated all of the teachers are to teaching all of us, like, what is right, and really digging it in. Like, you have to know this because this is what you're gonna do. Like,
This is how they got there.
yeah,
Sponsored by Shemeketa.
everybody is so dedicated to teaching
Well, so
the new
her
generation.
Her teachers, I think a lot of them are actually retired now.
Yeah.
But the one we were talking about earlier, Bob Carson, I'm
Well,
sure
two of them are. Two of
sure
them
he
are.
wouldn't mind me throwing his name out there. But so
Excuse
when
me.
I went to class, it was his first year teaching, and that was 34 years later that he had her.
That is so crazy.
And he was actually working at Salem Heating at the time. So
That's cool, man.
Most of these teachers are retired sheet metal people.
They're tried and true.
So they're tried and true. They know it. I didn't read this in a book. I
Right.
learned this on the job. This
Right.
is how it is, you
Yep.
know? And like Madison said, they are so just had their lives so dedicated that they want to have to quit working, but they kind of love it that they want to keep in it. You
Right.
know what I mean? Not having to do the work really.
And that's what you need is a teacher that gives a fuck, you know, like, and
Yeah.
someone who cares that much. Like, you know, I've had a ton of teachers, and, you know, you can tell the ones that are just getting it for the paycheck and the people that really care about it, you know, and obviously, like, community college is probably different than apprenticeship, but they're still, you know, trying to teach you something, you
It's
know.
still a community college.
Right. Yeah.
You know, bottom end of the day, they're both, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's no, it's very wise. I think that's have good teachers and just read into what your job offers as far as that goes. Aside from apprenticeship, like this is gonna sound funny or whatever, but like, don't be a pussy going into like something like this. Like, you gotta be like you gotta be, like we said, not afraid to get dirty. You gotta like
Keep an open mind.
right,
Yeah.
right, okay,
Because, I mean, like, for me, it's the job is the same every day, but the application is also different every day.
I'd also would like to add to that where it's like I worked in welding professionally for 1 year, like on the books, and you're gonna encounter some hard dudes. And you know, I'm not saying that you're a hard dude, but you seem like a fun guy who was gonna
That's really hard.
who's gonna kick a joke or something funny, and you can't. You know, like working with those old school pipe welders, they don't give a fuck. They will say whatever is on their mind, and
yeah,
you
they
just
will.
you better develop a hard shell skin too.
Take it with a grain of rice.
Yeah,
you know?
like,
Yeah.
you know, like you're there, you're starting from the bottom, they might talk some shit, but that's the trade culture, kind of. Like, the trade culture is something different than if you go work at a fucking office building.
Yes.
You know, like,
Yeah.
entirely. And so I
Definitely.
want to add that to that, but yeah, excuse me on that.
Well, and I think with that becomes this connection between you and your journeyman and apprentice journeyman that is almost family-like.
Exactly.
Because you become so real with each other that you start to trust each other.
Right.
And when you can trust each other, that's when the job is becoming awesome and simple for both sides of the equation.
Right. Like, I'm still friends with these old timers that I worked with on Facebook. You know, I still talk to them. I even run into them sometimes.
Yeah.
And they're like, "What's up, fucker?" I haven't like
Yeah,
talked to
exactly.
you and so, you know, good shit, you know, but I learned a lot from those guys. And it's like, I feel like some people are a little soft anymore. And so I think if you're going in the trades, you know, be prepared to learn, but be prepared to like get thrown against the shit.
You're gonna be told when you're fucking up.
Like,
for
if you're
sure.
fucking up, don't cry when someone yells at you. Exactly. Yeah.
Or pout about it even.
Yeah, no,
it's
move on.
Like, hey, dude.
Take it as a good piece of advice
Yes.
and move on.
Exactly. No,
Yeah.
and I think that's
But
important.
we're just telling you, so next time I won't have to say this to you.
Well, it sucks too though because you kind of have to do that, so it goes into the brain.
Well, if you don't say that to them, they think they're doing just fine.
Yes.
Oh, I remember, you know, when she started doing this, like, there was, like, only one time, I think, when you came home and you're like, God, these motherfuckers, like, they're just, like, I can't
They're so
remember.
mean.
I can't remember. Basically, you're just like, man, they're such assholes. And I'm like, obviously, I only have 1 year, but I understood. I'm like, yeah, and I remember we talked about it. I'm like, that's just how these trade guys, these trade people are just hard motherfuckers.
No,
and
it's not even that. It's the fact that since then I've understood.
It's a family, you know.
It's because anybody that is involved with you, especially as an apprentice or you're just beginning, they want you to succeed. So anything that they're doing is for you to succeed. That's all anybody wants, is for you to succeed. Nobody's
Right.
wanting you to fall. Nobody wants you to fail. Whatever they say to you, it's so you can be better.
Right.
Well, and, you know, so Madison's family, and so I asked her right out of the gates, do you want me to treat you any differently than I would treat any other employee?
Right.
And of course, you know her answer.
No.
No.
Yeah.
So
Which
there, you know.
that's legit.
And
yeah.
I don't think-
That's the way I always told my father. I was like, do not treat me any different than these guys out here, because I don't want them to think that I'm any better than them.
Right.
If anything, I want them to think that they're better than me, and that I can prove them differently.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
just through my own actions, you know.
Right. You just have to be willing to take it, you know.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
just have to
Don't
develop a
take
thick
it
skin.
personally.
Right,
you
yeah.
know?
No one's out there to get you. Like, someone might say something that might piss you off, but guess what? That's the name of the fucking game.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's... Like, even when I was in
Hey,
welding
I
school...
think that's a lot of just learning that
That's life.
it's criticism, and it's not necessarily bad criticism. It's
Yep.
criticism.
Yep.
Right,
But
yeah.
not all criticism is horrible, you know?
No, like, you need to know when you're fucking up so you can
And pissing
make it...
people off. And, yeah. No,
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that, I feel like, applies to life itself, you know. And that's another thing with the trades, is doing shit and respecting those things is going to help you live a better life too, in a way. Like, it'll make you think differently about shit. And I think that's important, you know. I feel like with today's generation, I don't like to say that, but it's just like there is a lot, like, with what's happening with this AI shit, and where people are losing jobs, and there's a lot of people our age that don't know what to fucking do or where to go. And it's like, this is one of the avenues you could take. It's just, don't be a bitch. You know, like...
Yeah. Well, I mean, they were always told in school, well, you just got to go to college and you'll have this cake job. Not the
anymore.
case.
Yeah.
You can go to college. I know a lot of bartenders that have 4-year degrees, and it wasn't in bartending.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
Well-
just they learned that that's fucking what they like to do.
Well,
Yeah.
there was always the common joke where it's like, oh, if you want to make money, learn to program. It's like, well, guess what, motherfucker? There's a robot out there that's doing it better than you.
They ever even dreamed
And you
of.
are out of a job.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
and
now
now,
they-
it's like the meme. It's like, learn to weld or learn to fucking whatever. Like, that's gone. The programming, like, I talked to my dad. My dad's a cybersecurity professional. And he's even, like, luckily he's about to retire. So he's like, I'm fucking done. But, like, he's even said, like, this is going to change everything. Like, my job is probably not going to exist anymore. And, like, these programming, like, there is going to be some people that you're going to want a person running cybersecurity. But most of it is going to run through AI. You know, and that's just the fact of the matter. AI is only going to get better, and it's going to just take out more jobs. So if you want to make money and be fucking successful, you need to do a trade or something that AI isn't going to take over. You know, I feel like just having this conversation, it's like learning what HVAC is, but it's also just reminding people how important that, again, the trades is what built this country. And it's going to keep building it, and we need people to do it, you know.
Yeah, and there's good money to be made doing it.
Right. No, there is. It's great money. And, you guys are a Stevens Heating, in case if y'all didn't know. I think we have a sticker up there. Right there. Yeah, Stevens Heating. Check those motherfuckers out. I mean, you guys have even done work on my building before. I don't know if you were there, but
I did, yeah.
I was changing the air filters out of the duct system, and it was like, Maddie put the date and Mads with the heart on it, and I was like, "Oh, she did this filter." It's so funny, but no, man, I really feel like this was great.
You guys need to change your filters more often.
Yeah, well, the thing is, when they're full of
I haven't
keef
been there in
and
like 2 years.
weed dust, we fired up our heaters for the first time like 2 weeks ago, and we did turn them up all year, of course. But when we turned them on, I was like, something's on fire. Something smells like it's on fire. And then I'm like, dude, we have to check the ducting. So me and my boss are like pulling out the filters. It's like, is something on fire? And we're like, oh, it's probably just the old keef weed dust getting burnt because it's a natural gas system. So it's probably the intake is pulling all the old keef and burning it. And it was fine. But yeah, we had to switch all the filters out.
A lot of people make that mistake, and especially if it's a natural gas appliance.
Right. It
They
smells like
smell that and they think, oh, it's natural gas. No, natural gas smells like rotten raw eggs, not cooked eggs.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Sticky
it's
fart.
more of a rotten, horrible where
Yeah.
that's a burnt smell. I mean, like Dale Donovan was one I was thinking about. That we put the ductless in for, then all of a sudden you had that little fireplace that they thought they smelled gas.
Oh, yeah.
We're like, we never even did anything with the gas. What the hell,
That guy is super cool. He
And
does ceramics, and he top notch guy.
What's his name?
Dale Donovan.
Dale Donovan.
Dale
He sells his
Donovan,
own
shout
ceramics, and yeah, he makes mugs and all sorts of stuff. He's a cool guy.
Glasswares and
Yep. Shout out to Dale Donovan.
Fuck yeah, Dale Donovan. Well, thank you, Matt, for taking your time and coming here. This is great.
Yes,
thank you for the beard. I feel like I learned a lot.
No,
And I
think-
hope that people that listen to this, we're kind of all over the place, but I think we got to the point.
Well, actually, we just touched the surface. Madison and I were thinking we'll probably need to do another one.
Of course.
Because it
There's
goes
so much
really
more.
deep into some of the
Of
new
course. Yeah.
geothermal systems, go into the inverters, the ductless a little deeper,
Variable speed stuff.
so that people know what's really out there and rebates that they can get and tax incentives and things like that.
I would love to. I seriously, sometime soon, let's do that.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Is there anything you would like to add or say before we log off of here?
Think about the HVAC industry as a career. It's a beautiful opportunity for people that they don't realize is out there.
Right. With benefits.
Lots of good benefits, not just in people, but money.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
And the wage is not, I mean, when I was in the trade, the wage top was like $20 an hour. And now it's upwards of $40 an hour,
right.
which that's what Madison's going to end up at. I mean, not 40 necessarily, but at the average journeyman's wage when she turns out, that's the whole point of the program,
Right.
I think it'll be like 33 at the end.
which is pretty goddamn
That's
good
goddamn
money.
good, dude.
probably
That's,
the most money
freaking-
I'll
that's
get.
fucking
For
great.
your
money.
age and
Yeah.
That's great money.
being a female.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I enjoy going home at the end of the day and being tired and feeling like I've been
Accomplished
productive.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feel like-
Accomplished something.
I
do
can
love that
imagine
feeling.
Yeah. Like you.
I love that
You
feeling.
built or you did something for the community.
And-
you know?
Yeah,
Honestly-
you took out Mrs. Jonas' furnace, and
Yeah.
she's happy and warm and thinking about you.
Yeah,
Well-
and yeah.
And on top of that, 80% of the time, as you're tearing the old furnace out, you're finding shit that's wrong with the original install or the prior retro, and you're fixing that, and you're like, oh yeah, they don't know that.
How fucked
I'm
this
fixing
is.
Yeah,
this.
how
Yeah.
stupid it
But-
really was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're
Because
gonna.
you don't want to badmouth.
But
it,
you're
you
also
know?
Yeah.
learning too, like what did these dummies do that now I can know not to do next
well,
time.
no, it's
you
more
know?
so like I'm fixing this for them, and they don't know it, and they're gonna realize how much they're gonna see once I fix it, how much better it's gonna operate once I fix it.
Right.
I'm not. Yeah.
You're proving like your money was well spent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you're
Yeah.
not wasting.
That's why
your
you
money.
went with us, because we care.
Yes.
Right.
I'm proud of who I represent, who I work for, and I'm proud to work for people, you know?
Right.
That's, yeah, for sure.
Well, that being said, guys, Stevens Heating, Matt Stevens, Maddie, thank you guys. Thank you for taking your time. Maddie's always here, so fuck her. I'm just no, thank you for taking the time, man.
No problem.
Like I said, I think this was
thank you.
educational, and I've been wanting to do. We've been talking about having you on for a while, so again, we'd love to have you on soon. We can go into a deeper dive on these things, and I think it's valuable for people to know this information. So thank you again, man. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Seriously. And then thank you guys for watching, checking your local trades. Don't be scared, all right? Get out there and get that fucking cash. Bye.